devil came to her front doorstep and said,
"Can I come in?"
but she just smiled and said, "No thanks, you're doing just fine from the other side." The devil then replied,
"That was not a request. It was more like a demand."
and she replied, "I know what kind of plan you have set for me, so we shall just let it be." The older woman tried to shut the door, but an endless darkened foot held the door open. The devil smiled back and then said,
"You're about to make a fatal mistake."
The older woman looked back at the devil with no fear displayed in her eyes and replied, "I'm not afraid to die, because I have found my salvation in the Lord. I also know what path I will be stepping upon forever if I give in to your temptations." The devil smiled so wide that the human form from which he first appeared began to break apart, starting at the mouth. The devil began to come apart all over, shedding his human form like a snake sheds its skin. The final transformation was like nothing ever dreamed about on earth. A deep, hardened laugh filled the surroundings where the older woman stood. The devil then addressed the woman.
"I am not taking no for an answer, and your soul shall belong to me."
The older woman, without any hesitation and void of any fear whatsoever, simply replied, "How can you take what already has been offered and accepted by another?" A smile began to form on the older woman's face, and it began to grow wider and wider and wider. The wider it became, the brighter the surroundings around that woman got. Her smile seemed to be stretching without any physical limitation, and the brightness seemed to have no endpoint. It was as bright as any sun ever seen on this earth. An ear-deafening sound of birds singing began to accompany the brightness, and then the woman raised her hands towards heaven. At the exact moment the woman's hands became completely outstretched, the brightness and the sounds of all the birds came together as one. The devil disappeared. The doorstep was empty again, and the sky turned blue. The birds stopped singing their song, but the older woman never stopped smiling. You've just heard An Unwanted Guest, written, recorded, spoken by John J. Ruppert, February 20th, 2017.